Alright, hi everybody. Welcome back to our conferences from the knowledge of oneself. And today we are going to talk about concentration and relaxation. This is the conference number 21 from the phase A set of conferences. Um, Again, this is a reminder for all of you if this is the first time that you come to watch these conferences. We are offering 50 free online conferences based on the Gnostic teachings and ancient teachings on how to achieve self-realization. We're giving some practical lessons as well as some theoretical lessons to complement all of the explanations and all the work that we have been showing you in our channel. We're gonna wait for maybe some minutes, and see if more people are coming, if they're logging in to their Facebook account. We also have these conferences in our YouTube channel, which has the same title as this one, is Knowledge of Oneself English, and there you can find all the conferences that we have been offering in this fan page, Facebook fan page, but you can also find all of them in the video section in our Facebook fan page. So, okay. So remember, if you have questions, comments, doubts, anything that you would like to say, you can write it in the comment section, and at the end we will be looking forward to reply to you. Right? Okay, so let me turn in camera so you can see. Alright, there you go. Alright, let's start. Let's start with concentration and relaxation. This is a really important topic, not only for these teachings, but for, let's say, like any type of spiritual work. Concentration and relaxation are key important aspects to develop throughout our inner work. So first, let's start with concentration. So what is concentration? Concentration, like the word concentration is showing, it means that it's the consciousness centered in the action. Okay, so that's what cons, the first part of the word, is referring to consciousness, and concentration is the same thing, like to be centered on something. So that's why we say that the consciousness is centered in the action. So concentration is a great power that allows us to succeed in everything we undertake. Concentration occurs when we learn to live in the moment, in the eternal now. So we have been also talking about this a lot, and I know that other traditions also talk about mindfulness, like to live in the present and the moment, so we call it the eternal now. So it's like being able to actually perceive this present time, this moment in which we are here, receiving the conference or doing something else, but with our mind, our emotions, and our desires being all centered in one thing, and not just separately, each one by its own way, which is usually what people have to deal with nowadays, but they don't know it. So our different functions work in unison, having our heart, always our heart, as their center. So this specific, let's say, like graph, we showed it before in other conferences, especially in the 7 Centers of the Human Machine conference, in which we were talking about each of the energetic centers that we have within our physical body. They're actually in the physical body, but not like chakras, which are found outside the physical body. Yeah. So these centers are also really important. They hold a lot of significance, and we should start studying them and observing them, and you will notice how real it is, how they work, the way they function, and the way they influence our lives. So yeah, we say so that the different functions of all of these centers, yeah, um, they're working by themselves with their own types of energy, but they always have one center, like the center of all of these um, energetic centers will always be the heart, you see, which is in the middle, so the green dot there, and we call it the lower or inferior intellectual center, which is the one that helps us work with concentration. So we have to work closely to it. And if we talk about maybe the chakras, we can say that it's also connected with the intuition. Yeah, but here we're gonna talk about concentration. So um, that center is essential for achieving concentration. Why? Because in a practice that we're gonna teach you, you will see how the heart, even the heartbeat, is like a great tool for us to actually perceive the present time, the present moment, the eternal now, just by feeling, by hearing that beautiful sound that the heart has. Okay. And we also have the other centers. We have the sexual, the instinctive, the lower emotional center. Already said that the lower intellectual center, the motor center, which is connected with the actions and the words, the lower emotional center, and the higher intellectual center. Okay, so they're all working at the same time with their own different energies, with their own different functions, but the heart is always the center. The key to achieving any practice is concentration. We must practice and fight until we achieve it. Um, we have to fight, actually. This is actually like a battle with your own self, you know. um, Concentration is not easy, especially nowadays when we are so filled with theories, with concepts, with so many studies and researches and scientific methods, studies. Yeah, so the intellectual energy nowadays is being overused. Yeah, so we're now getting to that point in which we are overthinking, which is constantly been thinking without even being able to control those thoughts and that like thread of thoughts that we have in a very unconscious way. So we're like, you can see it if you practice self-observation, which we also taught um, before in another conference, in conference 10. You will see that if you self-observe your inner world, that is your mind, thoughts, your ideas, your feelings, emotions, desires, right? Um, you can see that there are like so many things going on at the same time. No wonder why the world is like so unbalanced right now, because we ourselves are really imbalanced now. You can observe it. I'm talking like by my own experience, but you can also notice it by yourself if you practice what we are giving you here, you know, the tools that we're giving you here. So the practice is the most important thing. And so the idea of getting concentration is gonna be hard work. Yeah, it's gonna be like a constant work in which we have to little by little start taking that energy that the ego is taking away from us through the energetic centers that I just showed you before. So the intellect is constantly taking away that energy when we are planning, when we're thinking about the future and maybe things that are not even real, or going back to the past and remembering like so many memories from bad or positive events, because we're never living the present. Yeah, we might call ourselves awakened, because that's something that I've noticed that many people who are starting to follow a spiritual path, once they start realizing certain like principles, or let's say, um, have like certain understanding of the world and the universe, they maybe call themselves awakened. But to actually be like that, it requires effort. You know that everything that is worth requires effort. So the same is with concentration. We need to constantly keep working towards it, so until we achieve it. Okay, that's why we say that we need to practice and fight to achieve it. If we're concentrated during the day, we will be concentrated at night due to the principle of correspondence, which I love because it's like so connected with many of the teachings, because we're always considering and comparing the external world in which we live and the internal world, or the inner world, that each one of us have, right? So if we're concentrated during the day, since the very beginning in the morning, you will see the difference, and that will last for a whole day until the night. So the same goes that if you are concentrating during the time that you're awakened, in your house and the places that you usually are in your daily life, and then you go to bed, and then in the astral realm, or the astral world, when we are dreaming, um, we are accessing the fifth dimension. And in that moment, we can also perceive how awakened or not awakened we are by the type of dreams that we may have. So if we have like really strange dreams, and at the time of facing those situations in the dream, we are just like normally like, oh, I see, I don't know, a lion, a red lion flying, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. That means that we're not actually being very awakened during the day, or very conscious during the day. Because at night, because of this correspondence principle, at night we will be doing the same. So if we are self-observing ourselves during the day, and being able to live in the present moment, in the time, in the eternal now, we can actually perceive the same in the astral world. We can see things like, oh my, what is this? Am I dreaming? I need to prove it. So I stretch my finger, as we taught you in conference number 3 with astral projection, and then my finger will start to look like a spaghetti. It will stretch. You're like, oh my, I'm in a dream. So what I'm going to do? What is this? Where should I go? Where should I ask? Should I look for someone? Okay, so it's exactly the same. So the same happens if we wander during the day. We will also wander at night, just as I said before. So now we're not very conscious during the day of our emotions and thoughts. At night, it will be exactly the same. There are two types of concentration, one in the internal world and the other in the outer world. As I said before, we're constantly talking about this. Both are very important. I'm not just giving focus or attention to only one of them, but it has to be both of them. Um, Obviously, if we can do it at the same time, like practice this technique at the same time, not only for the internal one but also for the outer one, that would be awesome, and that would be excellent. But it takes time. We know that it takes time, and you know that to become a master, we need to practice and practice and practice. Practice is the key to achieve this. So we find ourselves concentrated when we hold a single thought, right? When we hold our full attention to something that we can achieve, there comes the inspiration. Yeah, when we are able to really hold only that one thing in our mind, that thought, idea, with full attention, or we're maybe performing something with full attention, we can feel like something nice, like a sensation of, let's not call it pleasure, but it feels really nice, and it's connected with the inspiration. See, and that comes from the higher emotional center, as you see here in the light blue dot, which is showing it, and an instant later to the head, you see, and then it goes up to the higher intellectual center. You see, it's all connected. So that's why it is so important to start practicing concentration through the tools that we're giving you. Yeah. There are many other techniques I know, but we're gonna focus on these ones. Okay. So holding a single thought. So concentration is related to consciousness. So, and it's the opposite to distraction, obviously. Concentration belongs to consciousness, and distraction, as the opposite, belongs to ego. Yeah, it comes from ego, from the eyes, from the psychological aggregates. If we study the distraction, we will end up in concentration. So if we study our own distractions, like the way we distract, what things are creating distraction for us, and we do not notice it, that we are usually living with this in our daily lives, and it's like so normal for us. Even like trying to do this at the beginning will be like a little bit shocking, because you need to start like opening those internal eyes to all the things that are like constantly flowing or moving in your internal world, you see, and distractions are on top of that. Distractions are everywhere, and now that we're on these technological times, that we have cell phones, smartphones, we have computers, we have those shows that people are like usually get super addicted to, and they watch them for years, even for a long time. Also, just another example, Netflix. Like all of these things are distractions, right? And distraction comes from the ego, right? And it's also very related with entertainment. We're always trying to find ways to entertain ourselves, right? Because maybe we don't have like a clear objective of what we are coming to earth, to our lives, no? So if you start studying those details of those big psychological defects, you'll start see like the connection, like there are like infinite connections with like so many things that we thought they were normal, but actually they were just given to us in these current times, in which we think that's normal, but actually those are imposed ideas. Yeah, so it's very important to start looking at it. You will see a great difference. If we can discover all the eyes of or distracting elements, we will achieve concentration. Yeah, so to studying that in your own self, to being able to see what is creating distraction and is avoiding, making you avoid concentration. Learning to center the consciousness in action requires much practice. So when I say much practice, it's like 24/7. Yeah, it's like it's a constant battle that we have with our ego, because our ego is constantly, all the time. Maybe at the beginning we don't see it, but as we start progressing on this, we will see that it is everywhere. Like all the manifestations we can see from ego are like so related with many things that we usually thought were normal, right? So it requires a lot of practice. Yeah, practice is the key. Since the sense of psychological self-observation is so edified in almost all human beings, and through this sense, the consciousness is centered in action. You see? So self-observation is the key, but you can see it. And during these last like 3-4 conferences which we have been studying, we have been focusing mainly on the psychological aspects. You see, they're more related to the pillar of psychology. This one too. So you see that psychological self-observation was a faculty that many people had, or let's say like most of the human beings had, like ages ago. I'm not talking about 300 years ago. I'm talking about like long time ago, like even eras before this current fifth uh, root race in which we're living now. Yeah. So yeah, sadly, throughout the times, throughout the centuries, the years, this faculty has been lost, and now it's atrophied in most of us. And this is very connected with the amount of ego that we have collected through our past lives, through all the previous existences. Yeah. So the more ego we have, or like, let's say like all of us have ego, just want to make it clear, but like the portions of that ego, like the parts, the defects, um, are becoming bigger. You're creating new ones. They're so old. They're like they have like a lot of energy trapped because you have fed them with so much energy from before, and that is kind of taking away that faculty, of self-observation. Yeah. So that is to just to like let you know, to explain like how this is something that we think maybe it's weird, it's different, that it's something like it's nice, that it could help us, but it could have been a reality for human beings of previous golden ages, golden times. Yeah. Again, I'm going back to I relate all of these processes with the yuga system from Hinduism. Yeah. So as we are now in the Kali Yuga times, the Kali Yuga age, obviously um, Krishna explained that very clear, in which he said that these times were going to be dark times and spirituality will be at its lowest rate. And it's all related to that because the ego is so strong now in all of us that it is hard for us to achieve these types of things, you know. So remember, consciousness is centered in action. Okay. So Master Jesus taught that we should pray and watch. Pray and watch. That's a practice that we're also going to teach you. Yeah? So what are we referring, or what was he referring to with watch? It is doing things consciously, on vigil, in self-observation and concentrated. You see? So, and also going back to that concept of the third eye, many people think that the third eye is a tool for achieving power, to be able to see other dimensions, to see other dimensional beings, you know, to know all, to understand all. But there is a main function in which this third eye is not being taken into account. So we know that third eye exists, but not the other functions that are related to consciousness, which is, my goodness, is incredible. No? So we just want to get the powers, but we don't want to go through that process of becoming something better. And when I say better, it's not to become powerful. No, it's to become uh, um, beings, or like real human beings with a pure heart, a pure mind, a pure soul, right? So the third eye here, what I want to say, the idea, not like going too far, is that that concept which the ancients hold, or like held about the third eye, was also to observe their own selves, to actually maintain that state of consciousness through the practice of observing themselves, and then being able to transform all those thoughts, all those ideas, feelings that maybe were not very conscious, and they were able to observe them through the use of the third eye. So by watching, that's what we want to do. We don't have the third eye activated. That's a fact, and we know it. But we can start working on this faculty, because this is a faculty from the consciousness, to again activate it and see through our own selves, to be able to observe ourselves, because we are a universe. Yeah, we're part of the universe. Universe is the macrocosm, and we are the microcosm, the small version of it. So we can do that. We can achieve it. And when we refer to pray, it's not just repeating and repeating like nonsense, or repeating in an unconscious way, like prayers or like or mantras, or some kind of religious pray. No, that's what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is that the pray here is the desire of being or to self-remembrance. Yeah, this is the same as relaxing, or pleading to the Divine Mother to eliminate, to disintegrate the defect, the psychological defect, the eyes, that is not letting us concentrate. Yeah, we also taught you this before. This is one of the pillars of this knowledge. You see, so the psychological death is a practice that we taught you before as well. Very important, because it goes together with self-observation. It's like the next step once we are practicing the self-observation. So we are able to discover those defects, right, with self-observation. And now the next step, to not just let it go or like focus on it or follow it, is to transform it, to transmute it, or to eliminate it. Yeah. So that's why we're making the split to the Divine Mother. Okay. So watch and pray is completely different to what many people thought it was. Like just sitting down somewhere and start praying and begging to God. No, it's different. He was talking about consciousness. He was talking about a process of working with your own consciousness. Okay. How can we practice concentration? So we can do it by making an effort to do one thing at a time, just one thing at a time. I know multitasking is something that our culture is kind of used to right now, and even in our university careers, at school or at home, many people think that if you're doing many things at the same time, that's good, because you are actually achieving more goals in a same period of time. But the problem is that you're making or performing those actions in an unconscious way, because you are so in a rush of finishing them that you're not paying attention, like paying full attention of that. You might be thinking something different at the time. You might be remembering things. You might be even feeling homesick for something that you remember. You will be planning things for the future. But that's not conscious. Yeah, you're doing things like a robot. That's what a robot does. It can perform many things at the same time, in the same period of time, but not being able to observe himself, because he is not able to be conscious. But we do. We have that ability. So that's why it's important to only focus on just one thing. So that's why it's called concentration. That's what I told you before, because it is centering your consciousness on something, on only one thing. So without thinking about anything else. Yeah. So I might be here teaching you this lesson, and maybe am I thinking about something else? I lost my concentration. Yeah. I was talking about this, and then like something came in my mind, a memory or something, and then I go like blank and stare at the screen and like, what am I doing? What am I saying? Yeah. So I let a thought interrupt this current time, this present time. So, and I just asked the same, plead or ask the Divine Mother to eliminate it. And then I go back to the same thing that I was doing before. Yeah. So it's important to do things, daily things, that's fine, like working, like doing the dishes, making the bed, taking a shower, whatever. Yeah. Without holding thoughts. Yeah. That constant like chatter in our minds, in which we're like talking and talking with ourselves, with our own psychological defects, is taking not only a lot of energy, but it's not letting us concentrate. So we should try not to have inner chatters, internal chatters at the time that we are doing something. Just focusing on what you're doing, looking at your hands, doing putting a lot of detail like on everything you're doing. Okay, without interrupting one thing to do another. So this is also very common, and it also sometimes happens to me as well. Yeah, that we are doing one thing and we just uh, remember something else, and we left it there like unfinished, and we go to the other task and try to do it, and the same thing happens. Oh no, I forgot this. So I let it there. Maybe I was cooking something, and then I remember that I had to take out the trash and left it there like unfinished, and then I did the other thing, and when I came back, the food was I don't know, overcooking or something. Yeah, like those silly accidents that we may have because we're not concentrated. See, so it's better to do one thing, be able to finish it, and then go to the next one. Do not think about things to be done. Okay, that's planning. That's what our minds are constantly doing now. And I can tell that people from uh, previous ages, maybe they didn't have this type of thoughts. But right now in this world, this present time in which everybody's like in a rush, they want to do things fast, they want to achieve more and more things in a smaller or shorter period of time. But they're kind of planning all the time. So planning. And I am a teacher and I know how it is to deal with that, because it is something that you are taught um, from family, from many people around you, that you should plan everything. So you are making dinner, you are having a special time with someone, and then your mind goes like, I have to do this, and then when I finish that I have to do the other one, and then I have to do this one, and then I need, yeah. So it's all the time being like that, and that's why we're not able to live in the present time. Not remembering things that I already have been done. Yeah, the same thing. So this is going to the future and now it's going to the past. Yeah, because our minds, when you start observing yourselves, that happens all the time. You're neither you're either going further, like forward, like to the future, or you're going backwards, like remembering. Yeah, bringing memories back. So it's better to try not to do that, because at that point you lost concentration. And staying focused on what we do. Yeah, that's what we want to achieve. To stay focused on one thing at the same time, not thinking about anything else, not remembering things, not planning anything, and um, do it until we finish it. If we observe carefully the multiple activities of our daily life, we realize this following things. Each one of them is done mechanically, since when we execute them, we are thinking about other things. So we're doing things while thinking other things, while feeling other things, while desiring other things. This sounds like nonsense, I know, but it is like that. Sadly, it is like that. We're so mechanical. We work like robots, flesh robots, because we cannot live in the present time, in the eternal now. It is really hard for us, actually. You can ask anyone, unless it's a Buddhist monk or maybe a yogi or someone else who has worked a lot with concentration and meditation. But anyone else, you can tell that every single person has the same behavior or acts in the same way. Yeah, doing things mechanically. They are not conscious of them, so they just ignore it. Yeah, they ignore it and they think it's normal, and they live all their lives in this way. We will also realize that the very fact prevents us from being centered. It also prevents us from seeing all the selves, or let's say all the defects, psychological defects that are manifesting. You see. Um, so yeah, um, this is a problem that I have been talking and discussing about for many times and different conferences, you see, when we're multitasking. Yeah, that is the problem with multitasking, because we cannot be focused. There's no center of consciousness there, because your consciousness is divided into many places, many people, memories, emotions, you see, negative emotions, positive emotions, and even desires, things that you would like to have. Yeah. So it's very important to remember that consciousness is where our mind goes. So if our mind is on always remembering and planning, that's where our consciousness is, right? So here I have the example. We have this timeline in which we have the present, the past, and the future. So okay, so this person might be reading, studying for a test, or doing homework, and at that time that person might have memories coming to his mind, like popping up, um, like inner chatters or internal chatters, like this person told me this and I didn't like it, and then I said this, and then he told me this, and then we went to this place, right? Those are the internal chatters that I'm talking about, and all of us have them, all of us. So for him to concentrate on the present time, he must do, as I explained before, just one thing. To focus, to concentrate, is to put or center the consciousness in only one thing. Not going to the past, not going to the future, no memories, no plans, living at the time. Just like what mindfulness explains. So what is concentration? We're still talking about this. But look at this routine. We get up, we incorporate ourselves, we walk towards the bathroom, we get undressed, we shave, we take a shower, we dry off, we get dressed, we put our shoes on, make the bed, have breakfast, brush our teeth, say goodbye to someone that is living with us, and we go out to the street, and we go on and go on and go on all the time, following the same routine. But we do not self-observe from moment to moment. That means that we have the consciousness asleep due to the lack of use, because we don't use it. So we do things in our sleep, and because of this, there is no self-discovery. So we do not discover different behaviors or different concepts or different things, hidden things, and we're talking about the things that are hidden among ourselves, and we cannot discover them because of that, because we are asleep. We're living life, following a routine in which many things doesn't make sense, but we still do it. So if we begin to self-observe, um, to observe those parts of the ego, those defects, psychological defects, we will discover um, to each one of those psychological eyes, that's how we call them, that they participate in every action, they act mechanically by making mistakes, they stress out, they originate worries, they distract, they prevent concentration. So we are talking about relaxation. Whoops. Yeah. So when we start to observe all of this, We are directly aware of the chaos in which we find ourselves, and that we can only bring order to it through permanent relaxation. So we're going to talk about relaxation, and talking about what it is first. So when we become aware of any defect which is producing tension in our physical body, in our human machine, we must necessarily relax so as not to exhaust energies unnecessarily. And this is done with a plea to our Divine Mother, as I said before. So when you discover any tension due to stress, due to something that you remember, and you felt anger, and you felt like a tension in your stomach, which is related with anger, and you discover it. Okay, so wow, I discovered this in my emotional center. So you go to with a plea, Mother of mine, can please disintegrate, eliminate, kill this defect. So you can name it, this anger, this homesick feeling, this sadness, right? You can call it with different ways. So tension, when we refer to tension, it is many things. It's not only one thing. So tension can come from wishes, from emotions, psychological songs, which we also explained before, wrong psychological states, thoughts, worries, internal chatters, fighting between the different eyes or different psychological aggregates, because they you can hear that, like at some point if you start working on self-observation, you can hear those voices of the ego telling you different things. Like one can tell you do this, the other no, don't do that, why don't you do this? And it's like they're having like an argument within you, which is crazy, I know, but this happens to everyone. So at some point we can say that all of us has like certain degree of craziness, you know. So talking about the Divine Mother, if we beg our particular Divine Mother at this time to eliminate a defect that is producing tension in any part of the body, or physically, or in any center, we will notice that this Divine Mother we were talking about, she acts immediately. If you are pleading with concentration, focusing on changing that state in which you are at that moment, you will see that she will act immediately. She acts immediately, relaxing the place where we have observed that psychological defect. It is necessary to understand why we are tense so that the mother can act. Stress occurs for many reasons. We do something we do not like, we might be afraid, we will look bad for something, that's what we are afraid of. We want to do something we like better. What we're going to do later worries us. What we did before was not right, like blaming yourself, like a guilt feeling. What we did before was very good for us. We don't know how to do what we are doing. We're worried about something we will have to do. We're distracted by something, you see? So stress can happen by many reasons. These are just some of the main reasons. But when you look at this, there's no wonder why everyone is like so stressed nowadays, you see? Because of the pace of life in which we're living right now, it's just crazy. Just crazy. It happens when all tension has disappeared and our psychology has been normalized. But then we can feel good and we can focus again on what we do. So for the practice of watch and pray, which is very recommended practice, this is the key practice for starting to develop self-observation. I do it every day and it's really important. So first we start with the conjuration of the belly line and the magic circle. We explained that in conference 7. Flee for assistance to the Father and the Divine Mother, so they can assist you, they can show you the way on how to do it. Relaxation, observing that the whole body is comfortable. Yeah, so we can, at this point, we can start like giving directions or orders to the different parts of our bodies. Or I can start with my right foot. So like right foot, please relax. Do not feel tension. And then go to my leg. I now go to my knee, and then go to the other leg, and repeat all the process of like ordering your own body to feel relaxed and to not feel tension until you reach the top of your head. Okay. We concentrate on the heart to listen and observe the inner world. Yeah. So at this point, you can be sitting down, like sitting straight. That position is important for me. And then you concentrate on your heartbeat. Yeah, so you can close your eyes, you can start like focusing your attention only in your heart. For some people, it is even hard to feel their heart or hear their own heartbeat, but with practice you will achieve it. But it's important to try to do it. Yeah, try to practice this, and you will have a stronger connection with your own heart. Okay, so concentrate on the heart and try to listen to its beat, to its sound, and start looking at within your own self. Then we beg the Mother or the Divine Mother to disintegrate every little memory, emotion, could be negative emotion, something that I am kind of planning for the future, a memory of someone, of an event, yeah, anything we observe that is taking away our concentration in that moment, we ask our Divine Mother to disintegrate it. This can be done until we have a perfect concentration. I know this is very different way of finding concentration, but as I said, this is uh, like the Gnostic way of doing this, and it is possible. I have done it. It's not crazy at all. It works, yeah, and it requires effort. That's what you will see. All right. So this was the practice. Very important. Very recommended. If you can do it every day, awesome. That will help you. Okay. And don't forget, concentration is a very great power that allows us to succeed. All the inner work that we want to achieve requires concentration. Call it astral projection, that you want to know something about your own karma or past life. Call it meditation. Yeah, this practice, watch and pray. We will be also teaching later a practice for intuition that also requires attention. We have also another practice which is helping the earth with its energy through, like, let's say, like a transmutation of energy, but with earth and other energies. And all the practices we need concentration. It's very important, and in our daily lives it is too. So it's really important, and it's worthy to start working on it, observing your own internal world, and see what is creating distraction in your life. Okay? All right. So this was the conference for today. Thank you for coming. If you have questions, suggestions, comments, whatever you would like to share, please type it in the comment section. And don't forget, this video will be also found in our YouTube channel. Okay, all the videos are also found in our Facebook fan page, Knowledge of Oneself English. Okay, so thank you for coming. I will see you next week, where we are going to talk about this important part of the work, meditation. Okay, so see you next week. Bye.